All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning. Welcome. This is our LIISMA partners meeting and workshop. We'll begin with a LIISMA update, and feel free to ask questions during the update or after the update. That goes till about 10:35, when we'll have roundtable announcements, and everyone has an opportunity to give an update on the invasive species work they've been doing or planning to do. At 11, we have the first of two presentations. We have a presentation on spotted lanternfly strategies by Dr. Amy Corman. And then at 12 o'clock, we have a presentation by the folks from Gladiator and detecting the online sales of aquatic invasive species. So those should be good. All right, let's start with the LIISMA update. All right, does everybody know us? We didn't, there we go. I'm Bill, I'm Bill Jacobs, Program Manager for LIISMA. I'm joined by Abby Besrutzik, our Field Project and Outreach Coordinator, and Haley Gladich, our Invasive Species Specialist. In the field of terrestrial invasives, we've been very busy. One of the projects that we work on is to survey and map emerging invasive species. This one here, small carpet grass, has been emerging for several years now. We have two known locations for it. It's a low-growing annual grass of wet areas. It looks a lot like the native deer tongue grass, but there are some differences. The leaves tend to be shorter and wavier, and the few other differences, conspicuous hairs along the margins. We had a report of a third location at Warbler Woods that we surveyed. Fortunately, we didn't find any of the invasive one. We just found the native deer tongue grass.
So some new terrestrial invaders to keep on your radar. In the last 2 weeks, we've received emails from our partners at the New York Natural Heritage Program, as well as CCE Suffolk, about 2 species which have been found in or around the LIISMA area, which may have the potential to have a high impact within our part of the region. The first of which is Kashmir balsam, or Impatiens balfourii. This plant was reported to us by the New York Natural Heritage Program Chief Botanist Steve Young through a finding on iNaturalist. So this annual is pretty similar in appearance and structure to our native impatient species, our native jewelweed, including its ability to eject seeds at maturation. And where it has become established in places such as Wisconsin, it has been found escaping cultivation and has been seen invading upland forests, wetlands, grasslands, marshes, streams, stream edges, and especially those that have been disturbed. The current distribution within LIISMA is unknown. And the next species to kind of keep on your radar is golden creeper, or Thatalanthia dubia. At the end of October, the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station put out a report about this species, as it was found invading in Kent, Connecticut. The plant's in the Cucurbitaceae family, and it has a pretty large red cucumber-like fruit, as well as perennial root tubers, which can really aid in its spread and establishment. It can also quickly outgrow native plants through fast growth, as well as through its twining and climbing growth habit. It can really fully eliminate native plant vegetation where it is established, really similar to our other invasive vines like ivy and porcelainberry. And it's already pretty restricted in states such as Wisconsin as well. We'll have more detailed information on these species in our upcoming newsletter. And if you do come across them in your fall walks before it gets too cold, definitely reach out and contact us, as well as you can upload them to iNaturalist, as they're not quite on IMAP yet, and we're going to work to get them on there.
We recently completed 2 management plans. Actually, one is a draft. We completed a draft invasive species management plan for the Quag Wildlife Refuge, which is a wonderful place. If you've never been there, you should go there. And also the Sayville Grassland, Sayville National Wildlife Refuge. We completed an invasive species management plan for that site as well. If anyone needs advice or has questions about management planning, please feel free to reach out to us. This is a photo from Quag Wildlife Refuge. Beautiful place. We will be doing winter moth surveying again this year with Dan Gilrain of Cornell Cooperative Extension. We have 4 to 6 sites that we'll be doing in the next few weeks in Nassau and Suffolk County. We did this last year. We had some traps set up for winter moth. We don't have the results finished for last year, but we'll give you those as soon as we can. As Dan said, the winter moth has caused heavy defoliation of trees in eastern Massachusetts and some damage to crops like blueberries. They're known to be on Long Island, but they haven't caused the same kind of damage yet. So we're trying to survey and monitor those.
On to aquatics. So this past summer, LIISMA was able to, in the same summer, survey and then rapidly respond to 2 new infestations of Phragmites in Long Pond at the Long Pond Greenbelt, as well as in Little House Pond and Big House Pond in Sears Bellows County Park. We were armed with our hand clippers and raspberry cane cutters, and we were able to cut the Phragmites in both water bodies this past October. At Long Pond, we were also really excited to have extra hands with us, as the Friends of Long Pond Greenbelt President Dave Dayton and Southampton Town Trustee Ann Welkeler paddled out with us, making cutting of over the 900 stems of Phragmites a quick and honestly really fun process. We also wanted to say a big thank you to all who made this rapid response possible. We really appreciate all the help from everyone at Region 1 DEC in the permitting process, as well as providing us the permit to cut and monitor these coastal plain ponds for the next 5 years. As well, a huge thanks to Suffolk County Parks, Southampton Town of Trustees, and the Town of Southampton for really quickly providing us with the permits and appropriate permissions to do this management. And we really look forward to continue working with all of you in this ongoing project. And earlier this month, Region 1 DEC also notified us of a small patch of Ludwigia papilloides at Artist Lake in the town of Brookhaven. Ludwigia is a tier 3 in LIISMA, and so in this way, we're tasked with really containing the species wherever it's found. The DEC already has plans to manage this invasive aquatic plant in the Peconic River, where it's already established and where it may have actually moved from that water body to this one. This pond is actually home to several state rare plants, such as Kerry smartweed and slender pinweed, and several others, which are occurring along the shoreline where the Ludwigia is persisting. Bill and I had the chance to follow up the site and confirm the ID, as well as documenting the extent of the patch along the shoreline. Since then, we've already met and we're working with the town of Brookhaven and the Central Pine Barrens Commission to secure the permits and hopefully be able to pull before the end of this year, if not early next field season. As well, we plan to survey the entire extent of the pond in the upcoming field season to determine if the Ludwigia is present anywhere else there.
Thank you, Haley. We have our 6 LIISMA subcontract projects that are in various stages. Some are still being signed, some have started, some are about to begin in the next few weeks. One of the projects is at Westbrook to manage Phragmites at Westbrook, which is at the Connecticut State Park. The other is to study and control viburnums in Brentwood. There's a viburnum invasion there that's being mapped and studied and controlled. Also the Arthraxon, that's the third one over from the top at Montauk County Park. We're working with the Third House Nature Center on interpretive signs that explain what Arthraxon is and also explain the significance of that park. It has numerous state threatened, rare, and endangered species in the park. We're working with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Nassau County on education and outreach for spotted lanternfly. Not a minute too soon. It's already been found in Suffolk County, spotted lanternfly, so keep an eye out for that. We're still surveying and monitoring for spotted lanternfly. There's a project in the city on Staten Island having to do with emerald ash borer. And finally, there's a project at Hempstead Plains with the Friends of Hempstead Plains to control invasive plants at that site. More info to come on those.
Thanks, Bill. For our engagement and outreach efforts, we've hosted a number of these kind of events in the past few months. One was an IMAP invasives training for arborists that was well received and got more professionals familiar with the platform, as well as iNaturalist. We hosted a community garden demonstration as a special event for the Port Jefferson Community Garden, which we taught gardeners about common invasive plants and their management. Particularly, there was a stand-up Bohemian knotweed there that we all learned a lot more about on the corner of the property. And lastly, our uninvited documentary viewing party earlier this month, co-hosted with the Lower Hudson Prism, the St. Lawrence Eastern Lake Ontario Prism, and also the Capital Region Prism, went really well. And it's a great movie. If you missed the watch party, you can still view it on YouTube. It's an hour-long documentary about invasive species in New York State, and highly recommend watching it. We could put the link in the chat. We also have some news in having a new website up by January. Haley and I have been working hard on updating the LIISMA website, and I'd say it's about 90% there. We look forward to sharing new educational materials and information about invasive species, as well as simple actions that everyone can take to prevent their spread. We're also looking forward to sharing some more consolidated information about our invasive species prevention zones, or ISPZs. And these are, if you don't know, ISPZs are large areas of intact ecosystems on Long Island with low invasive species presence relative to their size. So we're focused on protecting those areas, preventing invasives from really taking hold there, and working on compiling information all in one place that people can learn about the priorities that we have there and what we're working on in each of those areas.
Thanks, Abby. Some upcoming events. December 2nd, there's a LIISMA Biocontrol Summit. And also farther away after the holidays in the spring, we don't have a date yet, the LIISMA and the Long Island Native Plant Initiative will hold a joint hybrid conference on community-focused conservation of invasive species and native species, or control of invasive species and conservation of native species on Long Island. So that will be a hybrid conference, in person and virtual, both. More on that will be coming soon, probably March or mid-April sometime. Still looking for a date.